Hi, I'm James from Party Time Brews. Today we're gonna make a beer. What kind of beer, you ask? Let's try a pumpkin beer. A lot of people hate pumpkin beers, so let's see if we can make an okay one. Doesn't seem like a great argument, but yeah, we're gonna try pumpkin beer. Pumpkin beer is a style I've always really enjoyed during the fall. Always tend to buy a little bit too much of it and then realize that it's good for a couple, but maybe not to have a whole crap ton of it. But either way, I don't want to try it out. I've never tried to make it, so let's give her.
Party time, party time, party time brews. This song ain't no good, but we got nothing to lose. Party time, party time, party time brews. This one's a pumpkin beer, so we'll get no friggin' views.
If you want to make the easiest brew day possible, the best thing you can possibly do, especially if you have kids and have a lot of stuff going on during the day, is prep everything the night before. It's the best thing to do. You can measure out everything. You can save those few minutes, and then when you're actually not in the process of doing something manually, like dumping in your grain or stirring or whirlpooling or anything like that, you can actually just kind of have free time to take care of your kids or whatever else needs to be done. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But that's my tip. So for this one, the grain bill is going to be straightforward. We're just going to go with 90% Maris Otter and 10% Munich. The Maris Otter should give us a nice malty taste that should go well with hopefully the pumpkin flavor, and the Munich will give it a little bit of an orange hue and also just add to a little bit of toastiness to that, maybe kind of that crusty taste or something along the lines, but we'll find out when we do it. Yeah, gonna measure it out, 4.5 kilograms of Maris Otter and half a kilogram of Munich.
We're looking pretty happy here. Gonna reach on in for a taste of that old grain. Haven't done many batches with just the Maris Otter or the Munich, but it tastes pretty good. Nice and toasty. Mandatory grain grab!
While we're still pre-gaming here, I'm gonna measure out some hops. What I have is some 2020 Magnum T90 pellets, about 12.4% alpha, and basically I'm just gonna measure out about half an ounce of those, 15 grams, just because we wanna get a little bit of bitter in there, just to kind of offset the maltiness a little bit, but I really don't want it to be hop forward whatsoever, so I'm just gonna put in 15 grams at the start of the boil, and that should give me somewhere in the range of 20 IBUs. Measure time. One of the things I forget to do a lot when I plan on having a brew day is pre-preparing my RO water. I have enough RO water in the house to do about 15 liters at a time, but it takes a few hours to refill. So I usually end up scrambling the morning of, filling up a bucket, and then waiting for it to top up, and then trying to get another bucket, because usually you need around 30 to 32 liters of water for the beer. So instead of waiting, I actually have it done.
Here's the water profile I used-ish. With distilled water, it's about 9 grams of gypsum, 4 grams of calcium chloride, and 5 grams of Epsom salt.
In case you're wondering, I mix all my water salts in with the strike water at the first of the mash. I'm not too concerned about the overall dilution of it, where my sparge water won't have any of the salts, and my strike water might have a little bit higher than normal for some of the levels, but I don't think it makes much of an issue. If you do know that it makes more of an issue, leave a comment in below and I will quickly correct this. But for now, that's what I'm going with, and it seems to have been working fine so far. I'm able to still make great beers. Okay, so it's the start of the real brew day. I kind of fell asleep last night. I didn't plan on doing it late overnight, but that was just a stupid idea because I would have been up till 4 in the morning. So, since I got everything ready last night though, today will be nice and easy. All I have to do is dump in the grist and throw in the special ingredients of today's recipe, which is pumpkin pie. The first pumpkin pie didn't last. I got a little bit left of that. Luckily, we went to dinner the other day and nobody ate pumpkin pie, so I have pretty much a whole pumpkin pie. I'm gonna go with about 2/3 of a full pie in this recipe and see how that works. Hopefully it turns out good. Worst case scenario, not enough pumpkin taste. No, maybe too much pumpkin taste. No, worst case scenario is annoying stuck mash, which I'm kind of expecting, but we'll go with that and try it. I will grab some rice hulls now because I kind of forgot about that.
I didn't weigh them exactly, but I suspect I used about half a pound of rice hulls. I gave them a good shake to distribute them evenly throughout the grain. And another thing was, I took the lazy way out and didn't really measure the water that I would be using for the mash. I ended up using probably about 20 to 25 liters of water and treated it a bit closer to a full brew in a basket method.
For this, I'm using a Costco Pumpkin Pie. They're approximately 2.25 kilograms or so. So I'm gonna put in about 1.5 kilograms of the pie just to see how that works. And next year, maybe I'll try a different amount if it doesn't turn out too well. But for now, we'll just use that amount. This size is approximately half a kilogram. A little less than half a kilogram.
Now that we've flawlessly hit our mark with the pie drop, it's time to mix it in good with the paddle. I did my best to make sure no big chunks were left over after stirring it in. I don't know why, but I checked the pH at this point. I rarely ever use the pH meter anymore, but it is good for sours, and that's in another video. After an hour of mashing, the wort was starting to smell great. One of the best smelling worts I've made, with the sweet pumpkin spices filling up the room. The wort got a lot darker during the mash as well. Okay, waddling around the table. This is going to be important. Speak, puppet.
Let's see how this drains.
Words to live by. Anyway, I was worried that it'd be a sticky mess, but it actually ended up draining quite well. Meaning I didn't even have to touch it. In the past, I've had to end up stirring a few batches to get the sparge moving along. And this was the next kind of non-typical part. I ended up having to use a strainer to get rid of all the crap that started forming on the top as I was starting to boil. I think this stuff was mainly pie crust, as it easily made it through the perforated bottom of the brew in a basket system.
So we're just there, about to the final step. All I have left to do is chill the wort and put her in the fermenter. Yeah, it was a very long brew day. My little tips at the first to make it go quicker didn't really work out so well, but whatever. It is 2 o'clock. Yeah, that's 5 hours deep into the brew day, even though I did a bunch of pre-prep before. Doesn't really help that I fell asleep a bit, but good enough.
Ah, the chilled wort into the fermenter. Put that bag on there to stop the fruit flies. Yeah, wort.
And we finally got her in the fermenter. Just got a pack of yeast, some scissors for them, sanitize those, sanitize that. Let's give it a little cut. And let's get some yeast in here.
I realized almost immediately that I did not take the time to put the airlock on the fermenter. I didn't plan on fermenting under pressure, so I took the opportunity to mix up the yeast and aerate the wort a bit before changing out the ball lock attachment with the airlock attachment. At this point, everything was going well. The airlock was active and there was definitely a bit of fermenting mayhem going on inside the all-rounder. I didn't really start out with the cleanest of worts, so the pumpkin pie and crust bits were taking on a mind of their own. This bit here was left in real time so you could see how active this bad boy was. So at this point you'll notice me taking off the lid. Notice how easy it is. Never have a problem with it. Definitely didn't go to get tools. Well, I'm back. Let's dent the sides in a bit. Screwdriver's not really the way to go, but we'll wipe it down, maybe we can get it off now. Nope. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a screwdriver and dent the sides anyway. No problem. Now she easily comes off. Once that's off, I used a bit of gelatin to try to make it clearer. It wasn't really hazy at this point, but I just wanted to try out using gelatin. I'll make a video on this sometime, so just keep rewatching this video over and over and over and over and over until the link pops up when I get around to creating it. And as you can see here, I started kegging it, forgot about it, and it just happened to work out that it filled the keg perfectly.
So it's Halloween, and I let my kids decide what kind of costume I'd wear. I'm a cat witch. Anyway, here's my pumpkin beer. Turned out it has a little bit of chill haze. Nice head retention on it though. Let's go in for the smell. Has those pumpkin spices, has the pumpkin spices smell. And yeah, kind of like where she's going here. Let's give it a rip. Tastes like a lot of other pumpkin beers I've had. Tastes pumpkin-y. Throwing the pie in definitely didn't ruin anything. I kind of like the way it worked. Probably because the pie is already kind of caramelized and all the flavors are already there. Didn't have to go messing around, kind of mixing things separately and then trying to fake the pumpkin smell. We actually had a real pumpkin pie in there, so tasted good. I don't drink coffee, so no idea what a pumpkin spice latte or any of that crap smells like or tastes like, so can't really go by that, but from what I can tell on the pumpkin beers I've had in the past, I'm quite happy with this, happy to share it, and yeah, she's good. Don't really know what else to say. If you like pumpkin beer, I definitely recommend giving the throw a pie in technique a try. It worked, and yeah. pumpkin beer. The pumpkin-y flavors of the pumpkin come through the pumpkin beer.